Well, hello everyone. My name is Sridhar Mahadevan and I'm an undergraduate student of University Malaya from Geography Department. I'm here to explain to you guys about the importance of learning biosphere. So guys, what is biosphere? Biosphere is the space where the other elements such as hydrosphere, lithosphere and atmosphere overlap and consists of a whole collection of living organisms and its environment. So these are the importance of learning biosphere. So there are three types of classification of a hierarchy. Number one is the taxonomy hierarchy, is a process of classifying different species of living organism. Number two is ecological hierarchy, is the arrangement of living organism in relation to one another. And number three is the trophic hierarchy, shows the feeding position and nutritive series of all organisms in a specific ecosystems. And it's also important to learn about the 10% energy rule for each level, which means in every stage of food chain, only the 10% of energy will transfer in the successive stage. The influence of a biotic factor on the widespread of biotic factor. Biotic factors are all the living things in the ecosystem such as animals and plants, whereas abiotic factors are all the non-living things in the ecosystem such as temperature and water. There are two laws that we need to understand in this topic. Number one is the Liebig's law of minimum, which explains that an organism's growth is influenced by the scarcest factor, which is the minimum factor in its ecosystem, despite when all the other essential factors are abundant. Number two is the Shelford law of tolerance. It explains how factors such as minimum, maxima and optimum factors can influence the widespread of living organisms in a certain area or ecosystem. Organisms can be varied and distributed differently based on their range of tolerance for one factor. The tendency to tolerate with more than one ecological factor can give advantage to the particular species to be widely distributed in its ecosystem. So these are the five main types of species interaction. Number one is the competition. Competition within species occurs when their ecological natures overlap, which means when both of the species were required to use the same resources, so they had to fight within each other to obtain it. Number two is the predation. Predation is a biological interaction whereby one organism, predator, hunts and feeds on another organism, which is the prey for survival. Symbiosis describes the long-term interaction between two species for survival or advantages of certain factors. It can benefit for either one or both organisms in the partnership process. Mutualism occurs when both species benefit from the interaction. Commensalism happens when one species gets the advantage without affecting and harming the other species, and parasitism is one species benefit from by harming the other species. Roles of species in ecosystem. Number 1. Native species are plants and animals that originated and live in an area without any human intervention. There are species called non-native or invasive species that migrate into a different ecosystem. Number 2 is the indicator species. These are the species that reveals evidence for the impacts of environmental changes. For example, greasewood plants indicate the saline soil. Number 3 is the keystone species. It's an organism that helps define an entire ecosystem. For an example, sea otter are keystone species to prevent the extinction of kelp forests from the destruction caused by the sea urchins. So I hope you guys understand the importance of biosphere for all the biotic and abiotic components of the continuity of ecosystems in this world. So ensuring our planet isn't so troublesome, nobody will comprehend the significance of the biosphere better than us. It's about time that we should change our way of life so we can ensure our lives are good.